You're at a gathering, and someone turns to you with that familiar brightness in their eyes, asking how your week has been, or commenting on the weather, or mentioning something light and forgettable about traffic or weekend plans. And something inside you tightens. Not anger, exactly. Not rudeness. Just a subtle, almost imperceptible withdrawal. A quiet closing of a door you didn't even realize you were guarding. You smile. You answer. You play the part. But beneath the performance, there's a feeling you can't quite name. A restlessness. A hollow ache. As if you're standing behind glass, watching the interaction happen, unable to fully inhabit it. The words float between you like debris on water, weightless, aimless, forgotten the moment they're spoken. And you think, not for the first time, why does this feel so exhausting? It's not that you hate people. You don't. In fact, you long for connection more than most. It's not even that you're shy, necessarily. Though sometimes you let people believe that because it's easier than explaining. The truth is more complicated, more tender. You don't hate small talk because you're antisocial. You hate it because you feel too much. Because somewhere along the way, you learned that depth is dangerous, that vulnerability is a liability, and that most people would rather skim the surface than dive into the waters where you actually live. And so you've become fluent in a language that doesn't satisfy you. You've learned to translate your inner world into something digestible, something safe, something that won't make others uncomfortable. But the cost of that translation is a loneliness so quiet it barely makes a sound. There's a particular kind of isolation that comes with being someone who craves substance in a world optimized for speed. You move through conversations feeling like a traveler in a foreign country where everyone speaks a dialect you recognize, but can't quite speak yourself. They talk about the weather, and you want to talk about the feeling of standing in the rain when you were 12, how it made you feel held by something larger than yourself. They ask what you did last weekend, and you want to say you spent 2 hours staring at the ceiling thinking about mortality, about the fragility of memory, about whether the person you were 5 years ago would recognize who you've become. But you don't say that, because you know how it sounds. You know the way people's eyes glaze over when you venture too far from the script. You've seen the subtle recalibration, the gentle steering back towards safer ground. And so you've learned to keep the most honest parts of yourself locked away, brought out only in the rare presence of someone who feels like they might understand. This is what people miss when they tell you to just relax or not overthink it. They don't understand that small talk isn't simply boring to you. It's a betrayal of something sacred. Every time you engage in it, you're participating in a kind of collective forgetting, a mutual agreement to ignore the profound strangeness of existence. To pretend that being alive isn't the most mysterious and miraculous thing any of us will ever experience. You're not being difficult when you struggle with surface-level conversation. You're mourning the loss of something you've rarely been allowed to access: genuine human connection. Because here's what you know in your bones, even if you've never spoken it aloud: we are all going to die. Every person you meet is walking around with a finite number of heartbeats, a limited collection of moments, an unrepeatable constellation of thoughts and dreams and fears that will vanish when they do. And we spend so much of our precious time talking about nothing, filling the air with words that mean nothing, that touch nothing, that change nothing. It feels like a kind of violence to you, a squandering of something irreplaceable. You remember the first time you realized you were different in this way. Maybe it was childhood, sitting at the family dinner table while everyone laughed at something trivial, and you felt that strange distance, that sense of observing from outside yourself. Or maybe it was later, in adolescence, when your peers seemed content with conversations about parties and gossip and who liked whom, while you were consumed with questions about meaning and purpose and whether anyone else felt like they were pretending to be human. You learned early that depth makes people uncomfortable, that asking real questions, what are you afraid of? What do you want your life to mean? What keeps you awake at 3 a.m? Is somehow inappropriate outside of very specific contexts. That there's a social contract you're supposed to honor. Keep it light. Keep it brief. Don't go too deep. And you tried. God, you tried. You learned to mirror the energy around you, to modulate your intensity, to save your real thoughts for journals and late-night conversations with the 1 or 2 people who could handle them. But the trying took something from you. Each time you suppressed your natural curiosity, each time you swallowed a genuine question and replaced it with an acceptable one, you lost a small piece of your faith in human connection. You began to believe that maybe you were the problem. Too serious, too sensitive, too much. The world seemed to confirm this belief at every turn. People gravitated toward lightness, toward easy laughter and comfortable predictability. And you, with your hunger for truth, your impatience with pretense, you learned to be lonely in rooms full of people. What you didn't realize then, what perhaps you're only beginning to understand now, is that your aversion to small talk isn't a flaw. It's not evidence of social inadequacy or emotional dysfunction. It's a symptom of something much more profound, a deep, unmet need for authenticity, for being seen, for connecting not just with other people's surfaces, but with their depths, their shadows, their hidden landscapes. The psychologists have terms for this. They talk about highly sensitive persons, about the difference between shallow processing and deep processing, about how some brains are simply wired to extract more meaning from every interaction, every moment, every word. They talk about introversion and intensity, about the way certain nervous systems are calibrated for depth rather than breadth. And all of that is true. All of that matters. But beneath the clinical language is something more fundamental, something almost spiritual. You're not just sensitive. You're awake in a world that's half asleep. You're hungry for truth in a culture that's addicted to distraction. You're trying to live honestly in a system that rewards performance. And that's not pathology. That's courage. Think about what small talk really is, a social buffer. A way to manage the inherent vulnerability of being near another human being without risking actual intimacy. It's the emotional equivalent of keeping someone at arm's length while pretending to embrace them. And for most people, this serves a function. It oils the gears of social interaction, makes strangers feel less strange, creates the illusion of connection without requiring its costs. But you never wanted the illusion. Even as a child, you wanted the real thing. You wanted to know what people dreamed about, what hurt them, what they believed in when no one was watching. You wanted conversations that left both people changed, that cracked something open, that acknowledged the almost unbearable beauty and terror of being conscious in a dying body on a spinning rock in an indifferent universe. Is it any wonder small talk feels like betrayal? The hardest part isn't the small talk itself. It's the aftermath. The way you replay these surface interactions later, alone in your room, wondering why you feel so drained by something that seems to energize everyone else. The way you question yourself, your preferences, your very nature. You watch other people glide through these exchanges effortlessly, accumulating friends and connections with an ease that baffles you. And you think, what's wrong with me? Nothing. Nothing is wrong with you. You're not broken because small talk depletes you. You're not defective because you'd rather have 3-hour conversations with one person than 5-minute exchanges with 10. You're not antisocial because you find weather talk excruciating but could discuss philosophy or grief or childhood memories until dawn. You're just someone whose soul is shaped differently. Someone who needs intimacy the way others need air. Someone who would rather be alone than feel lonely in company. And yes, this makes life harder. There's no denying that. In a world built on casual connection, on networking and small talk and performative friendliness, your particular wiring puts you at a disadvantage. You can't charm a room. You can't network effectively at parties. You struggle in situations where others shine. And you've probably convinced yourself that this means you're failing at some fundamental aspect of being human. But what if you've been measuring yourself against the wrong standard? What if the problem isn't that you can't do small talk well, but that small talk itself is a poverty of communication masquerading as a skill? What if your discomfort is actually a sign of integrity, a refusal to participate in something that feels fundamentally dishonest? There's a reason you gravitate toward books, art, long walks alone, late-night conversations that strip away pretense. These are the places where depth is allowed, where you don't have to perform or translate or shrink yourself to fit into someone else's comfort zone. These are the spaces where you can finally breathe. And the people who find you in those spaces, the rare souls who want to talk about real things, who aren't afraid of silence or intensity or questions without easy answers, these become your people. Not because they're perfect, but because they're honest. Because they understand that true connection requires the courage to be uncomfortable, to venture beyond the safe scripts, to meet each other in the vulnerable space where we're all just confused, mortal beings trying to make sense of this strange gift of consciousness. You've probably noticed that your deepest friendships form differently than most people's. Not through repeated casual encounters, but through a single conversation that went somewhere unexpected, through a moment of crisis where pretense fell away, through the mutual recognition that happens when two people who live below the surface find each other. These relationships don't require constant maintenance or regular small talk to survive. They exist in a different dimension entirely, sustained not by frequency, but by depth, not by cheerfulness, but by truth. This is your love language, not the surface, but the depths, not the mask, but the face beneath it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, and this is important, you also need to forgive the world for being different than you. Because here's what you might be missing in your frustration with small talk. For many people, surface conversation isn't meaningless. It's how they build trust slowly, how they signal friendliness, how they create the safety that might, eventually, allow for depth. What feels like a waste of time to you might be another person's necessary foundation. And sometimes, People engage in small talk simply because they're tired, because they've had a hard day and don't have the energy for intensity, because they're protecting their own tender hearts behind safe topics and easy laughter. Your depth is beautiful, but it's also demanding. Not everyone can meet you there, and that's okay. That doesn't make them shallow. It makes them human. The work, then, isn't to force yourself to love small talk or to condemn yourself for hating it. The work is to find the balance, to honor your need for depth while accepting that not every moment requires it, to save your full intensity for the people and spaces that can hold it, while learning to move through the world with more gentleness toward those who live differently. This might mean accepting that you'll have many acquaintances but few friends, that parties will always exhaust you, that you'll need more alone time than others to recover from social interaction, that you'll spend your life feeling slightly out of step with the world's rhythm. But it also means something else, that when you do find your people, when you do create space for the conversations that feed your soul, the connection will be deeper than most people ever experience. Your small circle will be sacred. Your friendships will be profound. Your life will be lived at a depth that many never reach. You don't have to become someone who loves small talk. You just have to stop hating yourself for being someone who doesn't. There's a particular kind of freedom that comes with this acceptance. When you stop fighting your nature, stop trying to rewire yourself into someone who can sparkle at cocktail parties and charm strangers with effortless banter, something shifts. The exhaustion lessens, not because small talk becomes easier, but because you stop carrying the weight of believing you should be different than you are. You begin to see your aversion not as a failure, but as information. Your discomfort with surface-level interaction is your soul telling you what it needs. And what it needs isn't wrong, it's just specific. Rare, maybe. Inconvenient, certainly, but not wrong. Think about the last time you had a conversation that truly satisfied you. Not just entertained you or passed the time, but genuinely fed something hungry inside you. Chances are, it didn't start with small talk. Or if it did, it moved through those shallow waters quickly, almost instinctively, as if both people recognized they were capable of more and were eager to get there. These conversations have a different quality. Time behaves strangely during them. Hours pass like minutes. You forget to check your phone. You forget yourself. Actually, in the best possible way. You're fully present, fully alive, touching something real. This is what you're searching for in every interaction, whether you realize it or not. This is what makes the small talk feel so hollow by comparison. You've tasted something richer, and now everything else feels like starvation. But here's what nobody tells you. Even people who are capable of depth don't live there constantly. Even your deepest friends, the ones who can go to those profound places with you, also need lightness sometimes. Also make jokes about nothing and talk about their day and discuss what they're having for dinner. The difference is that with them, the small talk doesn't feel fraudulent. It feels like breathing, necessary, natural, not the entire point, but not worthless either. It's the rhythm between the intensity, the rest between the deep dives. What you're really rebelling against isn't small talk itself. It's the culture that treats small talk as sufficient. The society that mistakes pleasantness for connection, that confuses being known with being liked, that values breadth of network over depth of relationship. You're pushing back against a world that seems content with surfaces when you can see so clearly what lies beneath. And you're right to push back. The world needs people like you. People who refuse to accept shallow as good enough, who keep asking the uncomfortable questions, who insist that our brief time here deserves more than weather talk and traffic complaints. Your frustration with small talk is actually a form of grief. You're mourning the lost opportunities for real connection, the countless conversations that could have meant something but stayed safely meaningless instead. This grief is valid. Honor it, but don't let it make you bitter. Because bitterness is what happens when we decide the world is wrong and we're right. When we stop trying to understand people who are different from us. When we close ourselves off behind our superiority. And you're not superior for craving depth. You're just different. Your needs are different. Your wiring is different. And different isn't better. It's just not worse either. The people who thrive on small talk, who collect hundreds of casual friends, who can light up a room with easy charm, they're not empty. They're not superficial. They've just found a different way of being human. Their joy and lightness isn't false just because your joy requires depth. Their way of connecting isn't inferior to yours. It's simply theirs. And sometimes, if you're honest with yourself, you envy them a little. You envy how easy it seems for them. How they move through the social world without the constant friction you feel. How they don't seem to carry this ache, this hunger, this exhausting need for conversations that matter. You wonder what it would be like to be satisfied with the surface, to not always be reaching for more, to not feel so fundamentally out of place in ordinary interactions. But you can't unknow what you know. You can't unfeel what you feel. You can't make yourself smaller or simpler or lighter than you are. And the price of trying is a kind of death, a slow suffocation of the self, a gradual forgetting of who you actually are beneath all the accommodations and adjustments. So what do? How do you exist in a world that demands small talk when your soul is built for something else? You learn discernment. You learn that not every conversation needs to be deep, but every relationship worth having needs the potential for depth. You learn to move through the shallow waters without drowning in them, knowing they're not the ocean, but they are sometimes the path to it. You learn that small talk can be a kindness, a way of being gentle with strangers, of not demanding more than people can give, of respecting boundaries even when you wish they didn't exist. You learn to ask better questions. Not, how are you? But what's been on your mind lately? Not, how was your weekend? But what's something you're excited about right now? Small shifts that signal your willingness to go deeper without forcing it. You learn to listen for the moments when someone gives you an opening, when they say something that hints at what's really happening beneath their surface, and you learn to meet them there without making them feel exposed. You learn to find your people and to treasure them when you do, to build relationships slowly but surely with the rare souls who want what you want: truth, depth, genuine connection. To create spaces in your life where these conversations can happen regularly, where you don't have to be alone with your intensity all the time. Book clubs that actually discuss the book. Friendships that allow for long silences and longer talks. Communities built around meaning rather than convenience. You learn to protect your energy, to know that after a day of surface interactions, you need time alone to return to yourself. To not feel guilty about leaving parties early or declining invitations to events that will drain you. To understand that solitude isn't the same as loneliness. And sometimes solitude is exactly what you need to remember who you are. You learn to be patient with yourself on the days when the small talk feels especially unbearable, when every surface interaction makes you want to scream or cry or disappear. These days will come. They're part of living in a world that wasn't designed for people like you. On these days, be gentle. Go home. Read. Write. Walk. Do whatever helps you reconnect with the deeper currents you need to survive. Don't punish yourself for being tired of pretending. And maybe, slowly, you learn to find small moments of meaning even in the shallow waters. A genuine smile exchanged with a stranger. A brief but kind word with the barista who makes your coffee. A moment of shared humanity with someone you'll never see again. These aren't the deep conversations you crave, but they're not nothing either. They're tiny threads of connection in a disconnected world. They're reminders that even light touch can be real. You also learn something else, something harder to accept, that even in your deepest relationships, you will sometimes feel alone. Because there are parts of you that no one will ever fully understand. Thoughts and feelings so specific to your particular consciousness that they can't be perfectly translated or shared. This is the fundamental loneliness of being human. The fact that we are each trapped in our own subjectivity, able to gesture toward our inner experience, but never fully transmit it. Your hatred of small talk is partly a rebellion against this loneliness. If we could just talk about what's real, you think, if we could just cut through all the pretense and meet each other honestly, then maybe we wouldn't be so alone. And you're right, deep conversation does ease that loneliness, but it doesn't eliminate it. Because even in the most profound exchange, we are still two separate people, two separate consciousnesses, reaching toward each other across an unbridgeable gap. Learning to accept this doesn't mean giving up on connection. It means developing a more mature relationship with it. Understanding that perfect understanding is impossible, but approximate understanding is still precious. That we do the best we can with language, with conversation, with all our imperfect tools for bridging the space between one mind and another. That sometimes, small talk is just the acknowledgement that we're all here together, all struggling with the same basic human challenges, all trying to make it through another day. There's something almost sacred in that acknowledgement. Even when it's dressed up in talk about the weather. You're not going to wake up one day and love small talk. That's not the goal. The goal is to make peace with it, to accept it as part of the social fabric without letting it define your relationships, to move through it when necessary without losing yourself in it, to remember that it's not the totality of human connection, just one small part of it. And to remember, always, that your depth is a gift, not a burden, not a flaw, a gift. The world has enough people who skim surfaces. It needs people who are willing to dive deep, who insist on substance, who refuse to let us forget that we're all mortal beings on a mysterious journey, and every conversation is an opportunity to remember that together. Your discomfort with small talk is your soul's way of protecting something precious, your capacity for real connection, your hunger for truth, your refusal to waste your brief time here on words that mean nothing. Don't lose that. Don't let the world's preference for lightness convince you that your depth is wrong. But also don't let your depth become a wall. Don't use it as an excuse to close yourself off from people who are different from you, who need different things, who connect in different ways. Stay open, even when it's hard. Stay curious, even about people whose conversations bore you. Because sometimes, the person making small talk about the weather is also someone who lies awake at 3 in the morning wondering about the same big questions you do. They're just scared to say it out loud. Maybe your gift isn't just your capacity for depth. Maybe it's also your willingness to invite others into it. To be the person who asks the real questions, who makes it safe to go deeper, who shows people that there's more available than they thought. Not by forcing it, not by making them feel inadequate, but by gently opening doors and letting them choose whether to walk through. This is how you change things. Not by refusing to engage in small talk, but by refusing to let small talk be the end of the conversation. By always looking for the opening, the moment when something more becomes possible. By being patient with the people who need to build trust slowly, who need the safety of surface-level chat before they can risk showing you their depths. Your people are out there. The ones who will meet you in the depths without hesitation. The ones who are also tired of pretending, also hungry for substance, also aching for conversations that matter. You'll find them, or they'll find you. In the unexpected places, the comment you leave on an essay that resonates, the question you ask in a group that changes the tenor of the whole conversation, the moment of eye contact with another person at a party who also looks like they'd rather be anywhere else. When you find them, hold on. Build something real. Create the spaces where you can be fully yourself, where depth is not just allowed but celebrated. These relationships will sustain you through all the small talk, all the surface interactions, all the moments when you feel like an alien in your own world. And in the meantime, be kind to yourself. You're doing the best you can in a world that doesn't always make sense for someone wired like you. You're navigating a culture that prizes different things than you do, trying to honor your needs while still participating in a shared social reality. That's hard work. It's exhausting work. And you're doing it every single day, even when no one notices, even when you feel like you're failing. You're not failing. You're just being yourself in a world that expects something different. And that takes courage. More courage than most people will ever recognize. Because it would be so much easier to just go along with it, to accept the shallowness, to stop asking for more. But you can't. Something in you won't let you. And that something is the most alive part of you. The part that refuses to sleepwalk through this one precious life. So keep hating small talk, if that's what you need to do. But don't hate yourself for hating it. Don't let it make you feel broken or wrong or less than. You're not less than. You're just more sensitive, more hungry, more aware of what's possible when human beings actually meet each other honestly. The world needs that awareness. Needs you. Needs people who won't settle for the surface, who keep pointing toward the depths, who remind the rest of us that we're capable of more than weather talk and traffic complaints. You're not alone in this. Even when it feels like you are, somewhere, someone else is at a party right now, smiling through another conversation about nothing, feeling that same ache you feel. Someone else is lying in bed tonight, wondering why connection feels so difficult when everyone else makes it look so easy. Someone else is reading these words and feeling seen for the first time in a long time. This is the paradox. Your loneliness connects you to others who are also lonely in this particular way. Your struggle is shared. even if it feels singular. You are part of a scattered tribe of people who crave depth in a shallow world, who keep searching for meaning in a culture of distraction, who refuse to accept that this, the small talk, the surface, the pretending, is all there is. It's not all there is. There's also this, the conversation that changes everything, the friend who understands without explanation, the moment of recognition when two people realize they're not alone in their hunger for something real, the late-night talk that restores your faith in human connection, the silence shared with someone who doesn't need to fill it with noise. This is what you're protecting when you resist small talk. This is what you're holding out for. And it's worth it. It's worth the awkwardness and the exhaustion and the feeling of being perpetually out of step. Because when you find it, that real connection, that genuine meeting of minds and souls, it's everything. So go gently into the world of small talk. Do what you need to do to survive it. But never forget what you're really looking for. Never settle for the surface when you know the depths exist. Never let them convince you that your way of connecting is wrong just because it's rare. You're rare, and that's exactly as it should be.